Hello, welcome. This is an information session for Whittlesea Community Connections Women in Energy and Manufacturing program, which is called Redefining Women's Work. Bobby, I will hand over to you for the introduction to today's session.
No problem. Hi, everyone. My name is, let's begin with the acknowledgement to the country. So Whittlesea Community Connection pays respect to the traditional custodians of the lands on which we gather today, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. I pay my respect to elders past, present, and emerging. This always was and always will be an Aboriginal land. Yeah, so that's me and Jenny.
Hi.
I'm Bobby. I'm the woman's employment mentor for this project. And Jenny, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, thanks. Yes, so I'm Jenny. I'm the Women's Development Coordinator. So we work together to design and deliver this program and work with women in the community who are interested in the energy and manufacturing industries.
Excellent. So why are we here today? So redefining women's work. So the main purpose of today's information session is to, we'll talk about what opportunities are there in the clean energy and sustainable manufacturing industries. And first of all, know what is clean energy and sustainable manufacturing. Learn about the skills and personal qualities, that could help women to succeed in these industries, which we usually, we've always seen men working in this industry. But yeah, we'll talk about what qualities can help women to get into this jobs. And also we'll talk about the training pathways, and we know that everyone's life is different, so what kind of supports are there to encourage more women to get into these jobs. So today's workshop is scheduled from 10:30 till 12. We might finish early, but if you've got any questions, please send me a message or just unmute yourself. Next, housekeeping. Oh, I've already covered that. Just if you've got any question, just feel free to unmute yourself. And if you're more than welcome to ask if there's any questions after the session, please feel free to either contact myself or Jenny. Our contact details will be at the end. And also we'll email this resource once we finish the session.
Yes, and you can use the chat function as well. That's another good way to ask questions during the session.
Thank you. Introduction to clean energy and sustainable manufacturing. So what is clean energy and sustainable manufacturing? Clean energy is what Australia is doing at the moment is, by 2030, we're going to be net zero. That means we're not going to produce more greenhouse that goes into the atmosphere. So what Australia is investing in is renewable energy and improved manufacturing methods to help us reach net zero by 2030. So today we'll talk about, what renewable energy is and what jobs out there and how we're supporting, the earth. So renewable energy is produced using natural resources like sun and bioenergy, which is gas produced from food waste. And I really like to talk about Yarra Water Valley, which is just next to Wollert Farm. So they've got this big digestion, and what it does is, it collects all the waste food, fruits and veggies from the Melbourne market. So, the digester takes all the waste food, and it produces the gas, which is used to power homes in our neighborhood. So it was amazing to know that that's happening in our neighborhood. So we kind of like supporting, to go net zero. So that's good to know that Yarra Water Valley is doing something like that. And solar using the sun energy. Sustainable manufacturing. So what sustainable manufacturing mean is making solar batteries. We've seen solar powers in every houses now. So making solar batteries, and of course, to operate those solar panels, we need batteries. So yeah, sustainable manufacturing is making solar batteries, electrical vehicles, and more. As we can see, there's more electrical vehicles growing these days, so which is good. And making things locally, so whatever is produced locally, that's supporting sustainable manufacturing. Turning waste into new materials, like we talk about digestion, there's a big project M80, which we'll see more in the video, how waste concrete from the houses is recycled and reused to make the roads, and reducing waste in manufacturing. The companies are being very careful how to reduce waste in manufacturing, and using clean energy to run those factories, just like we talked about Yarrawater, and a lot of industries using solar power to run their factories. Let's watch this video. So on this video, you'll see how the waste concrete is being used at the current project, which is the M80 Owens Road. We'll see a lot of roadworks happening, but it's nice to see that actually they're using the recycled concrete to make the road. So yeah, let's see if the video works. We did check before. Yay.
My name is George Hatzimanolos. I'm Managing Director and Co-founder of Repurpose It. Repurpose It is a business founded on the fundamental belief that all waste can be converted to valuable resource. For the Owens Road and M80 road upgrades, we've been able to receive a variety of excavation waste spoil that would otherwise have been destined for landfill. We've been able to repurpose all that waste into engineering materials that will be used to build those critical pieces of road infrastructure. We have three different main processes here at Repurpose It when we receive waste spoil. One is our washing process. That process takes in waste soil and we recover sand, aggregates and clays that then get converted back to engineering materials. We take other things like concrete and rock and we crush them in our crushing business. Finally, our blending plant is able to take all those ingredients and turn it into a finished product like cement treated materials. The Recycled First policy is driving a number of benefits across the waste industry. It really is opening up a whole new world of opportunity to supply recovered resources from waste into construction materials applications, which really presents a significant opportunity to drive a step change in the things we utilise to build the infrastructure of tomorrow.
Now it's Jenny's turn.
Yes. And
once we put up the slide up.
And I will just mention that, sorry, I've got this video playing with noise in my background. All right, I'll just mention I saw a job ad today, which was for someone to work in a laboratory actually testing soil and construction materials to check what grade they are and make sure that they're suitable for using in further like recycled construction applications. And that role didn't require any specific qualifications for the person to do that. So if you're someone who maybe has done a bit of scientific work today in any capacity, even if that was like medical laboratory work, there are jobs you can take at that entry level without specific qualifications and start working in that sustainable manufacturing sector. Okay, let me just re-find our presentation. Okay, thank you. So why work in energy and manufacturing? It's a great way to live your values. So we had a look at the net zero by 2030 policy and strategy that the Australian government has signed on to. And working in these sectors is a way to contribute to the future of Australia and the planet by using your skills and efforts to help achieve that net zero goal. You get to help reduce carbon emissions through upgrades to clean energy solutions, improve manufacturing processes for greater energy and material efficiency. You get to be innovative in your daily work. This is technical and scientific work where there's a lot of problem solving and innovation involved. And you get to be a role model for younger women. So to show that the younger girls in your family and in the community that yes, women have important roles to play, and our minds and creativity and skills and innovation can help contribute to the sustainability of the planet. And I've got this picture here of a woman in Ballarat who was named Apprentice of the Year while she was pregnant. And her story is that she got the phone call saying that she'd won this award while she was actually in labour with her daughter. And so she is a role model for showing that, yes, you can actually raise a family while you're doing an apprenticeship and working in trades as well. And this was in 2020, so she's obviously now 4 years further down her journey of being a qualified, skilled tradesperson, with her daughter getting to see mum going out to work every day and contributing to the community. There's a lot of variety in doing this kind of work. So you can choose roles where you're working indoors or outdoors, at heights. We'll see some pictures of what that means, or in homes. You get to use your hands and your brain to make things work. And you can be employable anywhere in Australia or travel the world. So many, especially if you become, really experienced and specialized in, perhaps particular types of clean energy or particular sustainable manufacturing processes, all over the world, there's companies and governments who want people with those skills who would pay you a lot of money to go and work on their projects. And these are growth industries. The fact that we've got this net zero by 2030 commitment from the government means that money is being put into creating these jobs and providing training for people to move into them. So electricians in particular, this is a huge one when you think of solar energy, that's electrical. There's going to be in the next 5 years, over 10% growth in roles for electricians. Air conditioning and refrigeration, if you think of all the old systems running in homes and businesses, factories, shopping centres, they all need to be upgraded to be environmentally efficient and sustainable. So there's going to be a 4% growth projected for air conditioning and refrigeration technicians in the next 5 years. Boiler makers and welders, we'll look at specifically at what they do. So this is more of the manufacturing and engineering side, 3.2% growth in those roles. And fitters and turners, we'll see what that means, 2.2% growth. So all of these industries and roles we're looking at today have growth over 5 years. And when you think about an apprenticeship takes 4 years to complete, at that 5-year mark, if you started now, you would be ready and qualified and able to pursue all of these opportunities that are coming up. Now, there's great pay in these sectors as well. And look, Bobby and I had fun thinking about, what are jobs that, that as a society we go, oh yeah, those are really well-paid, respectable roles. And which ones do we think earn the most money? So one of the contrasts that we've put in is an electrical engineer. Someone who's gone to university and got a bachelor degree in engineering, and then an electrician, one of these skilled tradespeople. So looking at this, you're probably thinking, oh, I bet the lawyer and the doctor, maybe the dentist, they'll be earning the most money. Electrician, they haven't been to university, they're probably lower down. But if we look at the first year after qualifications, so people in a graduate job, a newly qualified skilled tradesperson like an electrician, you might be surprised at how much these roles earn. So dentist, if you want a lot of money, become a dentist, fantastic. But if you compare the electrical engineer, so they've got their bachelor degree in engineering, their first year out of uni, they're likely to be earning on average around $77,000, where your electrician, who's finished their 4-year apprenticeship, they're likely to be on $89,000. So this idea that a lot of us have that tradespeople, like it's a lower status job, it's lower paid because the person hasn't been to university. When you look at the income, it's just not true. And we're also going to have a look at the opportunities to become a business owner if you go down the skilled tradesperson route. Poor accountants first year out of uni. Yeah, surprisingly low pay for that one. So looking at these electrical clean energy trades, and there's a lot of variety in the kind of work it might be. So in the middle, we've got those air conditioning and refrigeration technicians. So someone who's got, several years of experience as well as their qualification. Same with an A-grade electrician. They're earning around $100,000 a year. And then a qualified skilled trades electrician might also, after some experience, go and do a certificate or diploma in project management, and then be managing like the electrical side of big construction projects at around $150,000 a year without ever having gone to university. On the manufacturing side, so these are more of your engineering roles, someone who's a welder, a fitter or turner, so they might be working in a factory, either making things or keeping the machines running. Yeah, it might be a bit lower, might be around $80,000, $83,000, but that can go up a lot when you look at the setting people are working in. So factory work might pay differently to a night shift or someone who's going out to work sites. There's a lot of additional pay depending on the work conditions. And they can absolutely be going up to $105,000 a year as well. And there's potential in many of these roles to be self-employed, to grow a business and employ others. And then, of course, there's no limit to what your earnings are once you're the business owner, using that entrepreneurship you may have, those business skills, that innovation. Another great reason to move into these industries is getting to work locally. So here's a map of the Whittlesea and Hume areas, and there's a lot of manufacturing going on. So on the Hume side, the top 5 manufacturing industries are transport equipment, food products, furniture, chemicals, machinery and equipment. And on the Whittlesea side, a bit less manufacturing, but if you think of the Thomastown and Epping precincts, there's a lot going on in those big warehouses. So lots of food, that's definitely the highest one in Whittlesea. And then we've got furniture, machinery, transport equipment. Think of all those caravans that you see being sold and made, and fabricated metal. So all these roles are ones where, rather than having a job where you're going into the city every day, having to, if you have children, work around before and after school care, being able to finish work and go, look, I'm only 15 minutes from my kid's school or 15 minutes from home. It's a real advantage. Types of work in energy and manufacturing. Bobby, is this still my part? Yes. Okay. So the skilled trades is what we're focusing on most in this project, but there are other types of roles as well. So in the electrical and energy pathway, we have an electrician. So they tend to do fine work. So you can see this person's using a screwdriver. They might also use a soldering iron and other small equipment. And they might be installing, repairing and upgrading systems. Lines maintenance. Now this is work at heights. You can see that this person is up on cherry picking equipment or a ladder, fixing things on power poles. So they're using tools at heights to repair and upgrade networks. Then we look at the manufacturing and engineering pathway. A fitter and turner is someone who installs, maintains and fixes the big machines used in factories that are actually producing things. So those fitter and turners, it's attention to detail work, being able to look at a machine, identify which part of it needs maintenance or isn't running properly, disassemble it, clean and repair things, put it all back together in exactly the right way, test it to see that it's working properly. So if you think of things like, maybe fixing up your vacuum cleaner at home or something like that, yeah, fitter and turners are doing that with much more expensive equipment. And then we have a welder and boiler maker, and they're using large scale tools like arc welding equipment, angle grinders to make new equipment. I saw a role today, a factory in Epping where they're making signage. So they have artists who are designing, maybe a really creative sign to go on a shop front, and they need a welder who is actually going to look at that design, figure out how it's going to work as a 3D object, cutting those shapes, joining them all together and making a really beautiful sign for this shop. And then, so those were the skilled roles where you need an apprenticeship to get into them. And we're going to look at what an apprenticeship is. There's also labouring roles. So these are ones where you don't need like a specific qualification through TAFE to do them. You might need specific certification, like a license to operate particular machinery. These roles, you need your industry white card to show that you can work safely around equipment and places where things are being made and dug up and so on. If you think back to that video we watched of Repurpose It, there was a lot of heavy machinery being driven around. And if you have your Victorian just regular car license, you can go on and become licensed to drive like earth moving equipment, trucks, cranes, diggers, anything like that. Those are really highly paid roles. When you start looking, it can be very surprising how much those heavy machinery operators earn, again, without having any specific study or qualifications. And yeah, when we think of recycling those materials to build new roads and buildings and so on, those heavy machinery operators are a big part of the manufacturing, sustainable manufacturing industry. And then there's roles for labourers. So places like Repurpose It, they take in, the green waste, how we put our food scraps in with the lawn clippings and branches and things like that. Look, the truth is someone needs to stand at the conveyor belt and pick out things that aren't meant to be in there. So it's not pleasant work, but it is what we might think of as a survival job. There's often these jobs available. They do pay, at least $30 an hour. It's smelly work, but you get to work in a team. It's safe. They pay, lots of kind of bonuses because it's unpleasant work. And this is the kind of job that if you're in a position where you just need to start getting some income for your family, these roles are available and you can go straight into them. And we'll talk about how you might get those if that's a position that you're in at some stage. And then, of course, all of these big companies have business and operational support. So I mentioned before, looking at the manufacturing industries available that are operating in our area compared to going into the city. If you think of someone who's a finance professional or human resources professional, many people living out where we are having to take the train all the way into the city or even Docklands every day. But if you looked at moving into these industries, you could be doing the same job for the same pay near home. And this is where learning about these industries, what they do, maybe working with a mentor of how can I change, keep the same transferable skills, but move to one, manufacturing or energy industry so I can work near home. This can be a fantastic opportunity that just improves that work-life balance. So human resources, finance, information technology, customer service, all these energy and manufacturing companies have these roles available in our neighbourhood. So just looking a bit deeper into clean energy, renewable energy. So solar farms, there's more than 200 solar farms in Australia. There's one near us at Hanson's Wollert Renewable Energy Landfill. They have a farm of 380 solar panels, and that's powering over 5,000 homes in our neighbourhood. And I saw another one near Craigieburn the other day, where it's just like a bit of land on the edge of some kind of, big facility. And they said, look, let's pop another solar farm in there. So this is one where electricians are needed to set up and wire up all of these solar farms. Rooftop solar systems. Now, I think probably pretty much every street in Melbourne would have at least one house with solar panels or a solar battery installed. The Victorian government is giving households, big rebates and concessions on upgrading their solar systems. So this is a role where you can, go into installing solar systems and be working in your neighbourhood because there's so much demand for this work. Solar battery storage as well. As people are generating more solar panel, they want that battery in their house so that they can capture and use that themselves or use it to power their electric car. The more electric cars we have, the more solar batteries there's going to be consumer demand for. And there can also be like really large scale solar battery arrays in industrial settings or even to power whole neighborhoods. Electric vehicles. So automotive electricians are starting to specialize in doing electric vehicle work. So if you're more interested in cars, then this is a good way to take those clean energy opportunities, skill yourself up to become an auto electrician specializing in electric vehicles. And energy performance. This is a different kind of role because it's not a hands-on tools, hands-on machines trade role. An energy advisor does some specific qualifications, and then they can go into homes and do energy assessments. So, quite a while ago now, I had someone come in and they were able to say, oh, if you replace your curtains and window coverings, that's going to save you a lot of heat loss. If you get more insulation in your roof, then that's going to make your house more energy efficient. So there's jobs for people who want to train up to do that work. And that can be a really great one, perhaps if you've been an engineer before you've moved to Australia and you're looking for a new way to use that knowledge that you have. Training as an energy efficiency advisor might be a really good move. And this is one where you can then become a sole trader. So that's a small business owner just employing yourself. And you can be working with councils or other businesses and getting paid to go out and do these appointments. And if you think of being a woman if you're home by yourself during the day, women would much prefer to book a female energy assessor to come into their house and talk to them than have a man they don't know come over. So it's a really great opportunity for a woman to build a business doing these home energy assessments. And also with energy performance, those air conditioning and refrigeration mechanics and technicians have that really important role in upgrading, installing and maintaining energy efficient systems. I do like it when I go into a supermarket and see that they finally put like fridges with doors in there instead of all that refrigeration just going out into the atmosphere. I don't understand why they ever had those open front cabinets. Okay, and then on the manufacturing side, of course, we've already seen the video with the recycling materials. There's actually several businesses around the Hume and Whittlesea area that are doing this work. So Repurpose It, there's also Hanson and some other places that are doing this. So if you look at all these structures they've got here, there's been welders who are building like all these conveyor belts and helping make the plant and equipment to process these materials. We have the fitters and turners who are keeping the machinery running. And of course, our heavy vehicle operators and labourers as well. Here's someone doing fitter and turning work. So they are keeping that manufacturing equipment working efficiently. So like I was saying before, either maintaining the equipment, or if something breaks, diagnosing the problem, taking the relevant parts apart, fixing and replacing what needs to be done, testing the equipment to make sure it's working safely, and then getting the whole process running again. And then our metal manufacturing, welders and boiler makers, turning metals into structures and supports, which might be for building and construction, making repairs and upgrades to transport stock and more. So there was a really interesting Metro Trains career information session. And there's a lot of welders working there. If you think of, if a train, runs into a support or something on the train, under the train carriage gets bent. It's the welders who are going in and making those repairs and getting that train running safely again. All right, I'm going to hand back to Bobby.
Thanks, Jenny. So what makes these jobs suitable for women? Let's see. First, let's meet Faiza. And, when Jenny was researching about this project and came across Faiza's biography, and it's very interesting, and she's such a good role model, and she's also won Bunnings Women Apprenticeship Award in 2024. So Faiza's come from Pakistan. She moved from Pakistan to Australia, to achieve her dreams, like most of us from migrant background do. So, back in what she says is back in Pakistan, this is hands-on skill jobs was something not, was restricted for women. And she was always a person who loved hands-on jobs, but not much opportunities back home. But after coming to Australia, she was really surprised and really happy that, there were opportunities for women, skills and trades. So she ended up doing her apprenticeship at Bunnings. She had done her undergraduate degree in computer science in Pakistan, but still her passion was always working with tools. So she says her first day of apprenticeship was, she was working out there with men, using different tasks and learning every day different things. And that's what she loved about her job. And I think the best thing she shared is being an electrician is that she's learning new thing every day. And as she learned new thing every day, her confidence grow as an electrician. And it's amazing to see a female electrician, and such a great role model to all the women out there and young adults, young girls. So, and her piece of advice for other apprentices is to be dedicated to your work and enjoy what you do. So yeah, I'm looking forward to meet Faiza someday in person. So yeah, next. So what skills and characteristics do we need for electrical work? So for electrical work, we need hands-on skill, be able to use hands and small tools, because electrical work is, fine working. It's about installing and repairing, following instruction and attention to detail. So it's very important to have attention to detail, initiative and problem solving. And as I said, be able to follow the instruction, communication skills to explain options to customers, because sometimes you may be going to someone's home, and it's so important to have the communication skill to explain to that person what's wrong and what you've done. And if you're from multicultural background, or you can speak other languages than English, then it's even better, because it's more comfortable, easy to explain in the other languages. And the other thing is high focus on safety. So whatever work we do, focus on safety is the priority, and same with the electrical work. Next, with the characteristic or skills for manufacturing work, as Jenny mentioned before, fitter and turner, welder and boilermaker. First thing we need is enjoy practical work, because it involves a lot of carrying heavy machinery, and also be physical, because be able to cope up with the physical demands, because you'll be working in big machineries, because you'll be taking out the machinery, cleaning, or assembling, checking, repairing, and putting it back together and testing. So it does need a bit of a physical demand. Good hand and eye coordination, because working in machineries, you do need that good hand and eye coordination. Patience, that's the key, and be able to carry out accurate work, be alert and safety conscious, and the important thing is aptitude for technical activities. That means, be able to learn different things, even though if you don't know, but having that attitude to learn. Next. And yeah, both the characteristics that I said about electrical and manufacturing, I feel like we as a woman, we have all those skills. We are multitasker, we've got attention to details. So yeah, that's perfect for women. And Australian culture. So in Australian culture, everyone is used to having more women in workplace, and also, it's the report has shown that when there is more women or equal men and women at workplace, it actually boosts productivity level and also increase job satisfaction. Because why I think is, women we not only look after ourselves, but we're always there looking after other people as well. So that makes, workplace nice and peaceful and, job satisfaction. So, and also in Australian culture, workplace have diversity. As we know, there's a lot of multicultural communities, so we work together. And, most of the employers, they employ more women and people from diverse background, and also people of different sexualities and gender identities. And yeah, Australian men are used to having mothers who working with women and having women as bosses. So this really makes, workplace very comfortable for women. Australian laws. So Australia promotes and legally protects equal employment opportunities for women, and this project is one of the example. Government is really tries hard to provide that equal opportunities for women. And Victorian workplaces have a legal duty to prevent discrimination and harassment. So any workplaces, there is a legal duty to prevent discrimination and harassment. So even workplaces have to provide the safety equipment needed for safe lifting so that women's physical strength can be accommodated. Just before we talked about, how manufacturing industries, we have to lift big machineries, and once you start working there, if you feel like you don't have the right tools to operate, then you can always tell the employer that and they have to provide that space which is safe for women. And there are unions and at workplaces which really supports workers, so we'll talk more about the unions later. But yeah, unions are the best person to talk to, and they are there to support us to make sure that the workplaces is safe and inclusive for women. That's you, Jenny.
It is me. Thank you. So how do I qualify? So I just wanted to provide a quick look at the Australian qualification levels so that we all understand the terminology that we're going to use in this section. So when we talk about apprenticeships, this is a certificate 3 level qualification. And we're also going to look at what is a certificate 2 and what is a pre-vocational course. So you can see in the Australian system, these red ones are what's called vocational education. So this is training you in the tasks of a specific job. And then at the advanced diploma or associate degree level, this is when it then transitions to higher education, so your more academic university type of work. So if we look at a bachelor degree, so this is in Australia what we call an undergraduate degree, or the kind of degree that once you've finished year 12 in high school, you're eligible to go into a bachelor degree. There's also other, like a diploma is lower than a bachelor degree. You may have already done a certificate 3 or certificate 4 in Australia, but we'll have a little talk about how these things fit together. So yeah, it just helps to have this visual of the different levels of qualifications that we're talking about. So depending on what type of work you want to do, and we looked at these earlier in the session, there's different pathways into those, of course. So the lower skilled work, which might be those survival jobs, like those laborers who might just be, sorting materials, then, lower skilled. There may also be some certificates. So we looked at the heavy machinery operators who, starting off with their regular Australian drivers, Victorian car driver's license, have gone on to get certified to drive tip trucks or earth moving equipment, diggers and things like those, and actually are earning a lot of money. But these ones, you don't need a specific qualification. So for one of those survival jobs, pick packers, sorting materials, you can look for an ad for a labourer at one of these companies. And if you have an employment mentor or a consultant, so that might be through the Jobs Victoria mentoring service that we'll talk about at the end. It might be through Workforce Australia or another program. You can say to them, look, I really need a survival job at the moment. I heard that these kinds of roles are, decently paid, although it's hard work and it's a way into the company. Can you help me to apply for and get one of these roles? For the skilled trades that we're focusing on today, the only way to get into those is to do an apprenticeship. Now, I say the only way. There are some equivalency tests and study that you can do. So if you've been an electrician in a country outside of Australia, there is a shorter course of study you can get to be qualified to do work here. Very special case. There's places that can help you with that. But in general, doing an apprenticeship, which gives you that level 3 or in some industries level 4 qualification, will get you into these well-paid skilled trades that are in so much demand and such growth industries. Those business support roles, so finance, human resources, information technology, customer service, you could get into those by doing a business traineeship if you don't have previous qualifications at a level 3 level in Australia. You might have a diploma or degree, and that might even be from a country outside of Australia. And using your transferable skills, looking at the roles you've done before, either in Australia or other countries, and maybe with an employment mentor or consultant saying, how can I match my previous experience to the job requirements in these roles in these industries? And then the management roles, the people in control, in charge and making decisions in these companies. Every company I've spoken to say they want people to start in any other role, any role in the company, do their leadership training programs that they themselves run, and be promoted from within. They really want to employ people up through the ranks of the company. You might have a degree, you might have an MBA, you might have transferable skills from another industry or another country that you're applying as well. But really getting to know and understand the company from a lower level and moving up is the way that they like people to do it. So what is an apprenticeship? It's a combination of paid work and training at the same time. So when you're an apprentice, you work for an employer and they teach you the skills that you need to start your career. And while you're working from them, you're getting paid to learn. Now, apprentices do have a lower pay rate because you're being trained, you're needing to be taught things. You gain on-the-job skills and experience. So most of your learning is being done in the workplace. And then you also probably one day a week go to a training provider like Melbourne Polytechnic or Kangan TAFE, where you're in a classroom or a simulated work environment. And then you've got trainers who are teaching you skills, they're assessing that you're learning. And over the course of 4 years, you get a qualification as well as working. So it is most of the time a full-time commitment. It might be 4 days of work, 1 day at the college. And as an apprenticeship, you might have access to financial support and loans to purchase tools, work equipment, and things like that. So we looked before at the structure of the different levels of qualification. So an apprenticeship gets you onto that certificate 3 or maybe certificate 4. And then you've got a degree, undergraduate degree, bachelor degree are the names for that. So a degree at university, takes 3 or 4 years, depending on the course of study. And then an apprenticeship is going to be 4 years. Degree, most of the time you can opt to do that part-time. Apprenticeship, it is harder to get a part-time apprenticeship, but with the support of a union, especially their women's programs, and with your apprenticeship broker, you can find part-time apprenticeships. They're just not as common. With a degree, you're mainly learning in classrooms. So if you've been to university before, you'll be familiar with what that learning setting was. It may have been in a lecture hall or something like that. With the apprenticeship, you've got about 1 day a week in class, and that may be something like a big warehouse with, kind of set up practice equipment for you to be working on, rather than just, sitting at a table looking at a board. With a degree, you might have an internship or industry placement to give you some practical skills and experience. With the apprenticeship, that's how you're doing the majority of your learning. So around 4 days a week out of 5, you're going to be doing paid work in the industry. And look, the truth is, in Australia, if you did a 4-year engineering degree, at the end, if you were, eligible for a government loan in the first place, you then owe the government $32,000. When you have finished an apprenticeship, you are getting paid from the very first day, as a first year apprentice, you're getting paid from the start, and then there may be incentive payments. We saw earlier that a first year qualified electrical engineer is going to be earning around $77,000. Whereas that apprentice, when they've finished their 4-year apprentice, they're going to be on around $89,000, plus they've been paid the entire way through their study and they don't owe the government any money for their loan. So even though apprenticeship pay rates are low, so I think as an adult apprentice, it's a bit over $20 an hour, where the standard adult minimum wage is $24. But this is, because you're learning, you don't have to pay to be doing that TAFE study. That's all kind of taken out of that, the lower pay rate that you're getting, but still $20 an hour. It's not that bad. And an adult apprentice is getting paid significantly more than a youth apprentice straight out of school. And apprenticeships are definitely available to adults, mature age apprentices, people who may have done a degree, perhaps either in Australia or a different country. You are still eligible to do an apprenticeship in Australia. So looking specifically at becoming an electrician, and it's been so funny working on this project. Both Bobby and I are convinced that we're going to stop doing community services work and become electricians instead. So the qualification to do this is a certificate 3 in electrotechnology, and then in brackets, electrician, and that is done as part of a 4-year apprenticeship. So locally, places where you might, that might be your training provider for this, we've got Kangan in Broadmeadows, Melbourne Polytechnic over in Heidelberg, RMIT TAFE in Bundoora also does the apprenticeship. So if you like the idea of having a prestigious, RMIT on your certification, then that's an option as well. And Victoria University in Sunshine, if you're living more on the western side of the suburbs. And then there are, further options that you might like to do as well. So it's not just that you do an apprenticeship and then you're an electrician forever. You might get some experience for a couple of years and then say, look, I'd really like to go into project management and work on these, maybe one of those big build projects that the Victorian government funds, or maybe go into, private construction and be working on the electrical wiring for these, huge developments going together. And doing a diploma of project management, so that's still in the vocational, ranking of that thing. So you might still be doing it at TAFE, or a lot of universities. So RMIT, the T stands for technology, Victoria University, Swinburne. These are all more the technical universities. You can do a diploma with one of those, and then go into those large-scale commercial and civil projects. Or you might say, look, I'm more interested in the design of things. I'm going to do an advanced diploma, which is still the vocational side of engineering, technology, electrical. And I'm actually going to work on the more, engineering, scientific, technical side of designing things rather than being hands-on, following the instructions. I want to be the person who's creating those designs for other electricians to follow. And then every electrical apprenticeship that I look at, they really value if people have done a certificate 2 in electrotechnology. And I said earlier, I'm going to explain what pre-vocational is. So those vocational qualifications, we had the rankings from certificate 1, 2, 3, 3's your apprenticeship level. Pre-vocational means you're not qualified to do the specific job, but you have learned the basic entry-level skills to be employed to learn how to do that work. So if you're interested in being an electrician, the certificate 2 is a great way to try it out and see if this is work that you like. So in this certificate, you get basic electrical theory, electrical workshop practices, so you know how to work safely around electricity, wiring and basic installation skills, the use of hand and power tools, and an overview of the industry. And this is part of the free TAFE system. So as long as you're eligible for free TAFE, if you're a permanent resident or a citizen, then you're eligible. There are other eligibility criteria, and these TAFEs, they do get some discretionary enrolments available. So if they've, say they've got 20 places, they've filled 18 of those, and then someone says, look, I don't quite meet the criteria, this is my situation. At times they might be able to say, yes, that's okay, we'll use our discretion to let in one person out of the cohort of 20 who doesn't quite meet it. So don't think just because you don't strictly meet the criteria. And the criteria for free TAFE does get updated every year. So the 2024 criteria are different to the 2023. And the best thing to do if you want to study a course with a particular TAFE, call up or hop on their chat function on their website and go through, I'm interested in free TAFE, this is my circumstances, am I eligible? Get advice directly from that specific TAFE. So this Cert 2 in Electrotech, so RMIT Bundoora, 16 weeks full-time, you can do it at Epping. So even though their apprenticeship level is at Heidelberg campus, the Cert 2 is at Epping, 18 weeks part-time. So there's different options which are around 4 to 6 months, full-time, part-time. So you can have a think about which one's the convenient location, which one suits my other commitments as well. And doing this, it's not a commitment to go onto the apprenticeship. You might just do it and go, hey, that was really cool. I've learned some skills that I might use in electronics projects or something like that. So it was good for my personal development, but I don't want to continue on. Or like Pfizer, whose story we saw, Bunnings Apprentice of the Year, she started with this certificate 2, and she said, yes, this is what I'm passionate about. I'm really committed to do this apprenticeship. So if you want to go into being an electrician, employers really love to know that you're coming in with this basic theory, you know how to work safely, you have basic skills, you know how to use the tools before they take you on as an apprentice. So we want to have a little look at career progression. Like I said, just doing the apprenticeship, it doesn't mean, oh, I don't have a university degree, so I can't progress in my career. You absolutely can. What these companies want you to do, and this is from my meeting with HR managers at several of these energy and manufacturing companies, they say, get a foot in the door, show us what you can do, and then take the opportunities that come up internally. So going into one of these, the labouring roles or as an apprentice, you get in there and you show them your communication skills, teamwork, problem solving, initiative, using technology. These are the key employability skills that you'll be demonstrating and using daily in these industries. And then also demonstrating those attributes that make you a good worker as well. So being reliable, which Pfizer said, reliability and commitment is one of the most crucial things to success. Showing how you deal with pressure, showing you're adaptable, so you've got that good initiative and you're flexible in your approach to work, that you're honest, that you have integrity, demonstrating these to an employer, they'll say, we want to keep this person and we want to give them the opportunities that they find meaningful so they stay with us. And then looking at, Hanson, who have that Wollert Renewable Energy landfill site, they have an internal leadership training program. And when I talked to their HR manager, they said there was a man, he had been an accountant in Pakistan before he moved to Australia, and his qualifications weren't recognised in Australia to become an accountant again. And he'd taken one of these, survival jobs, the labouring job. He was working on that conveyor belt with the, the green waste coming in, picking out the things that didn't belong. And he showed them that he was reliable, he was adaptable, he was honest, great approach to teamwork, good initiative. And the leadership training program came up and he said, look, I was previously an accountant. I did a very different kind of work. I'd like to be given an opportunity in the leadership training program. And they said, great, come on in. And he did that program and they gave him a chance in the finance department, and how he is now the, accounts receivable manager for the whole organization. So he is an example of someone who came over from another country and really worked his way up from being a laborer, doing that unpleasant work, but being dedicated and reliable and getting back up to that same kind of work that he was really more suited to. And yeah, I've just put in a link. So Alex Fraser, this is a company that does that materials recycling and reclamation, and they're now part of the Hanson Group. And on their website, it's got some good examples of the kinds of things they look for in employees. So here's a sample of, this is a weighbridge operator. So one of those entry-level roles where you don't need specific qualifications. The hourly pay, that's quite decent, $32 an hour, plus allowances is a term used for if you need to wear a uniform, if you need to wear, high-vis vest, if you're working in a cold environment, hot environment, confined spaces. These all add up as allowances, little bonuses you get. And rather than saying you need experience doing a specific thing, they've said, let's look at what we actually need in this role. Safety focus, professional and self-motivated, attention to detail, team player, computer skills, interpersonal skills, emotional intelligence, because there's actually a lot of, talking to customers coming through, and contributing to a productive team environment. And I think all of us, if we look at jobs we've done before, we can identify, yes, I have demonstrated all of these skills. Whatever job I was doing before, I have done these. And this is a way where you could get into one of these companies. So a weighbridge operator, I forgot to explain, she's sitting on the edge of this little raised platform. If you have ever gone to, the tip up at Wollert, you might have had, a big lot of, empty boxes to recycle or, e-waste. The truck drivers drive up onto the platform. She'll be in the office. She'll weigh them, do things on the computer. When they come back out, she'll weigh those trucks again and then calculate, you disposed of this much waste. Your company will get charged this much for that. That's what she does. So it's a big customer service role. But this kind of role, you've then got access to those leadership advancement opportunities. And of course, another type of career progression is becoming a business owner. So an example as an electrician, yes, you do that 4-year apprenticeship, certificate 3 in electrotechnology, and then work for an employer and get some extra experience in the specialization that interests you. So whether that's solar panel installation, working with batteries, just being someone who's being called out when someone's got an electrical fault in their home. And then there's a specific 1-week course that you do to teach you what to do as an electrical contractor. So you're legally allowed to do this work as a business owner. You register your business, get very important insurance, and you might do that self-employed or in partnership with someone else. And then you work and grow your business. And here's 2 pictures I found when I looked for, female electrician, self-employed business owner. And I love that they've both on their white vans gone for this, purple logos, which have that, real feminine energy to it. And they're still able to, kind of live their femininity in the way they feel it. in the way they do their work. And locally, I see there's a business called Plumber Mama, and it's got a little logo, which is, the woman holding her baby. And she's someone who, again, if you're a woman at home in the house during the day, many of us would much prefer having a woman come over to fix our household problems than having a man who we don't know coming into the house. All right, I'm going to hand back over to Bobby talking about support for women going into these industries. Thanks, Bobby.
No worries, thanks, Jenny. So, of course, for women to get into this industry, it is challenging. So, what support do we have? First is our project. Next slide. Yep, sorry. So the first is the trades, women support for women in trades. There are unions we talked about before. So the first one is the Electrical Trades Union of Australia, and they have a Victorian branch which is called WAVE, Women in Apprenticeship Victoria Electrical. So they will support with mentorship or even networking and any questions you've got around apprenticeship, so they will be able to support you. The other one is Australian Manufacturing Workers Union. That's they've got a branch which is Women in Trades, especially for women who are in trades. So, yeah. So, and the other one we've found is MEGT, Melbourne East. Oh, I forgot again. It's
Group training.
Melbourne East Group Training. Yes, Melbourne East Group Training Apprentice Connect provider. So, and within that organization, they have women in trades specialist industry mentoring. And we actually met someone last week from that organization, and they say, like, they can provide mentoring to a woman who wants to go into that trade, and also, support with whatever support she needs. Next, and also government have support payment. So if you train in an eligible occupation in the clean energy sector, then you may be eligible for the new energy support payment, which is up to $10,000. And it's over the course of your apprenticeship. And plus there are additional incentive payments which is offered by the Australian government to Australian citizens and permanent residents. So there's a lot of supports. And yes, our project, which is Redefining Women's Work, which is funded through Victorian government. And this is Whittlesea Community Connections mentoring program. And I'm one of the mentor. I am the mentor, not one of the mentors. So I am the employment mentor. So how I can support you is, I can support you with the resume writing and interview coaching, because sometimes it can be very intimidating going into an interview and don't know what you're expecting, and also writing resumes. So we'll support that, connecting you with the unions and employers so that you can talk about how's the workplace like, and hear from the people who've already in that industry, and also holistic referrals such as emergency relief and enrolling in childcare. We know we as a woman, we've got several responsibilities, several hats we wear. So, depending upon your need and your circumstances, we'll provide that holistic support. And as a Whittlesea Community Connection organization itself, we have a lot of internal programs like, emergency relief, L2P program, yeah, and a lot of support. Confidence building. So like we said, not only interview coaching, but also, we'll support you with confidence building, work around you, and also provide cultural needs, because every culture coming from different cultural background, we all have our own cultural needs. So we'll support that. And yes, with this project, we've got more activities. I'm so excited. The next one we're coming soon is the car maintenance. And we're also planning the woodwork. So you'll learn how to use the, equipments, and also soldering, which Jenny's organizing. So there'll be a lot of skill building workshops. So, if you would like to join, please come, register. We'll send you the link. And, once you try, then you'll know, okay, this is something I really like. And then, yeah, go ahead. And we're also planning site visit to energy and manufacturing employers who are in city of Whittlesea and Hume, local, so that you know how the workplace is like, get the experience, go to the workplaces, and also networking events, so you'll meet more people from the industry. So if you'd like to register, we'll have our feedback form at the end. So this is 2 flyers that we've got. The next one we have is Women's Car Maintenance, which is on 5th October. We are fully booked. So we know that's really popular, but yeah, there will be more. And the other one is Women's Woodwork, which is on 18th of November.
Yeah, and I'll just jump in and say, yeah, if you're watching this now or watching the recording, we would love to hear from you what you're most interested in doing as workshops, because we will be repeating these 2 in 2025. But yeah, if there's most demand for car maintenance, if there's most demand for power tools, if there's most demand for soldering, we're actually working with circuit boards and kind of doing a bit of very basic wiring work. Let us know what you would like to attend, where you're living, what suburb you live in, so that we can plan more skill building workshops that are going to suit the people who want to try out these different tools and skills.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jenny. And also, if there's any skills you would like to learn, just let us know. Yes, summary for today, what we've learned. In today's session, we've looked at what clean energy and sustainable manufacturing is, what growth opportunities out there. Till 2013, we see a lot of opportunities moving forward in future, and what types of jobs are there, and what makes these jobs suitable for women. And also we talked about apprenticeships and career progression. We heard the story from Faiza, and also what supports are there for women in energy and manufacturing. So what did you learn today? So this is one message. If you're watching this video, then you can just write it down for yourself, what one message you have from today's session. Yeah, for me, I think it was Faiza's story, because story is always amazing, and someone having a lived experience, and someone's from multicultural background. Yeah, her story is one thing that I've taken out from today's session.
Yes, and I think for me, so I've worked in careers for several years, especially women and employment and career. Just finding out in this industry that, yeah, they want to promote from within, and their advice, get into our company at any level, and then we will see what you can do and we will give you opportunities. That was something that I knew about these specific industries that aren't necessarily applicable everywhere. So that's yeah, definitely something that makes this project worthwhile for me, having those conversations and being able to share that information with the community. Okay, so we have a feedback survey. So even if you are watching this as a recording, we would love to get your feedback on this recording. So Bobby, if you're able to find that link, actually, I think I have it saved as well. So do let me know if you can't access it. In the chat, Bobby's going to put the information session link, and we're also going to add it in the description of this video. So if you can't see the chat for some reason, look at the video description down below on this YouTube recording, and you can click there, give us your feedback, and that's also how you can privately send through your name, your contact details, and ask for more information about mentoring, skill building workshops, site visits, whatever it is that you're interested in. And yeah, important to know that participation in this program, of course, is all free. The program is running until the end of May 2025, so it's not a very long-term program. So yeah, please get in touch. Let us know as soon as possible. And thanks, Bobby has put the links depending on whether you're an adult job seeker, you might be watching this as a consultant who's helping people to find work, or you might be at school or a young person thinking about careers. There's 3 different feedback forms that you can use depending on your current situation. So what you can do next is you can contact Bobby or myself about your interests and goals. So that can either be via the feedback form or by the contact details that we're going to show at the end of these slides. Join in one of our workshops. So on our web page, you can see what we've got coming up, and we'll put a link to that in the video description as well. Register to find out about site visits and employer networking events. Join our mentoring program to get that individual support Bobby was talking about. Or if you've watched this and you go, look, I don't think this kind of work is for me, the Jobs Victoria mentoring service can give you some support in finding all other kinds of work. All right, Bobby, do you want me to hand back to you for this section? Or actually, I'll do this little bit. So I just mentioned the Jobs Victoria mentoring service. So Whittlesea Community Connections runs this program in Whittlesea and Hume, and it can be people who are in the surrounding areas as well. This is for people who've been unemployed for more than 12 months, or they're facing significant employment barriers in finding and maintaining employment. So you may have been unemployed for less time than that, but there's factors in your life which can be being a migrant or refugee from another country. It may be that you're a woman over the age of 45. For Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, there's many different criteria that you may meet that make you eligible for this kind of free voluntary support. And this, it doesn't have an impact on your Centrelink payments. So you might be with a Workforce Australia provider or a disability employment service or Parents Next program and still choose to receive help from this program as well. And to be referred to this, you can ask Bobby or myself, or you can directly email jvms. There's a typo in that, whittleseacc.org.au. Right, Bobby, I'll pass back over to you for these last few slides.
No problem. So yeah, Whittlesea Community Connection, we are a not-for-profit organization. We've been around for more than 50 years. So we do a lot of things. So one of it is community legal service. So we provide free legal service and emergency relief programs like food, food packages, and help you with the utility bills. Employment support and training, which Jenny and I do, and we do have settlement services for newly arrived migrants. So a lot of family and cultural activities, and I think I touched in before. We got driving programs, which is L2P for young people. You know, if you're planning to get a driver's license but need support, then we do have L2P program to get your P license. And we do have community transport. If you need help with the transport, book a van, then we've got community transport. Volunteer opportunities, we've got a lot of volunteers in the organization who supports in different programs. So if you were interested to volunteer, then you can go to our website. and register to become a volunteer. And connection to other supports. So if we don't have, or if we don't provide the service that you're looking for, then definitely we'll connect you to the other organization who can provide that support. So you can either go to the website or call our contact center, the numbers on the screen, and ask for any of these services. Next, family violence support. We know that one woman is killed every week because of the family violence, and actually the number is growing. Just last July, it was 76. So it's actually 2 women a week. So it's important to know what supports are available around family violence. We have Orange Door, which is at Epping Plaza, just next to Quest Apartment. So you can just walk in. You don't need to book appointment, or you can call them, the numbers on the screen, or email. If you need support after hours, there is safe steps. You can call them or email them or go to their website and chat. In case of emergency or crisis, call 000. Police are there to support us and help the community. Or if you need free legal support, then Whittlesea Community Legal Service. As I said, we've got free legal service. You can speak to one of our family violence lawyers. And that's our contact details, Jenny Barnes and Bobby Lama. So you can either call us or email us. That's all.
Yeah, and between us, we generally work Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So this phone number here comes straight through to us. It's easier than going through the contact center number on the previous screen. And we will put a link both to the feedback survey and to our program's webpage in the description for this video, so that you can find us that way as well. Thank you everyone for watching this video at a time that suits you. We would love to hear from you, see you at some of our workshops, get you into our mentoring program, and help you on your journey into the energy and manufacturing industries. So have a great time, and we hope to talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.